little more aggressive defensively out there today when you guys were in team? You got after it a little bit. Is it starting to ramp up a little bit?
Yeah, I think so. Those guys have that mentality, and they want to go out and play physical football, and that's what we want as coaches. And at the secondary position, at the corner position, especially, we do a lot of covering, but we gotta have some physical guys.
Coach,
Why do you use as a teaching tool the boxing gloves? What does that do?
Well, being a corner, you gotta cover with your feet, right? And so that allows those guys to cover with their feet and not grab so much. So we try to overemphasize the not grabbing part of it.
Coach, how do you feel about the room? Obviously, you guys are replacing Trey, but it seems like you might have more bodies this year that can kind of get into the game.
Yeah, we got some guys that really can play. That's one of the things that we have to go out and do. We have to try to create more depth. And I think we did that in the guys that we have, in Avery and Channing and Mason and J-Mac and those guys. Man, they're doing a really good job. But I really like the room. There's smart, intelligent guys in there, hard workers. Guys work their butt off and don't say anything.
you talk about the physicality, and obviously the size looks different this year at corner. Is that a huge emphasis for you as a cornerbacks coach to go out and find those 6 foot, 6'1" types that are real long and physical types?
I like long corners, I do, and but I like corners that can actually play. Whether they 5'7" or they 6'2". I just want guys to go out and be productive. And if you can find a taller corner that can do the same thing that a smaller corner can do, then that's what you look for.
How much growth have you seen from guys like Channing and Mason from the spring towards now the fall camp?
Yeah, I think that's a lot of retention. From this past spring, those guys came in and was thrown into the fire, and now that they know the system and everything, and they can play a lot faster. So again, those guys are really smart, intelligent football players, and they're good athletes as well. I mean, they good size and they all can run. But it's good to see how much they progress from the time they got here this spring to now. It's like night and day.
How big is it for?
Sorry, Jerry, go ahead.
How big is it for you, Coach, to have a guy like Fig back, not only with his skill, his ability as a leader as well?
Yeah, leadership is huge, and one of the things that we talk about, we want guys that are productive, and so when you bring back a productive player, that's good for your room. Fig is a leader on and off the field. I mean, he only knows one speed, and that's fast. So what he preach, I mean, he goes out to show exactly what he means about what he's preaching, and to have that leadership in the room is huge for us. For guys like Vernon and Ronald Lewis and those guys, those young guys, they need to see that. They need to see that leadership, the way he lead by example, and his vocal leadership as well.
How many defensive backs do you anticipate playing during the season for you?
I want to play a lot more than we played this past year. I mean, we didn't play very many last year. Thank God, Fig and Trey stayed healthy, all year. And but I want to play a lot of guys. I would say at least 5 to maybe 6, at the corner position. One of those freshmen may have to play. And so, you got Josh, you got Avery, Channing, Mason, Giante, McMillan. So those 5 right there for sure. And so throw one more guy in the mix, and I think we have a really good group, and we didn't have that much depth last year.
Is one of the did you not have enough depth, or just not? Did those guys help not give you the opportunity to really rotate other guys in so they could get some exposure to big time games?
Well, I mean, it's always a trust factor involved also. You want guys that you can trust. I mean, you don't want to miss a beat when you take somebody out. You want that guy to go in and compete just like he's a starter. When you take somebody out, and so it was just one of those deals where everybody developed differently, and so therefore, some of those guys wasn't caught up as much as they need to get as many reps. I mean, there were guys that actually played last year. Early on, I think we played quite a few corners. We played quite a few, and some of those guys, through injuries and things like that, and then you look behind you, kind of handcuffed, so I'm just happy we got, more depth right now than we did this past year, and I feel like I can trust those guys as well.
Of those 6, how many do you feel like you can really trust?
All 6.
All 6?
Yeah, definitely.
Coach, I'm doing a separate story on Sunday. When you look back at this last year as you got to know, what was just the most impressive thing that he kind of shows you both as a coach and the leader of the program?
I mean, with Coach Dykes, I mean, what you see is what you get. I mean, he's a family guy. He's a guy that cares. He's sincere. He's passionate, and he lets us coach. He lets us be ourselves, and that's one of the things I like about him most. And he's a guy that take care of his players. I mean, he loves his players and makes sure guys are fresh. And you can't say. I mean, we work hard, but we have time, to spend with our family as well.
Success can change people. Is it safe to say that his approach has basically remained the same even after all the Coach of the Year awards?
He's more hungry than ever, so we know we just, we done something special last year, but we didn't finish. We know target is on our back, and nobody's gonna give us respect. We gotta go out and earn it, and that's our approach every single day. Just go out and practicing hard, and just like you preached all last year, everybody just do their job, and that's coaches included.
The offense, Coach, the offense doesn't have Quentin or Darius or Tay at receiver anymore. But what have you seen from the receivers in camp? Maybe even going all the way back to spring camp. What have you seen from those guys, and how much have they helped your cornerbacks?
I mean, it's competition, in every phase of it, whether you go inside and outside. I mean, we got quite a few transfer receivers that come in here, and they might not be quite up to Quentin's standard right now, but by the time we get to that first game, I think they will. We have some long guys that can run. We have some smaller guys that are really shifty, and so we get to see a mixture of athleticism out there in practice every single day, which is going to help us because that's what we're going to see throughout the season. And so you're going to get the size, you're going to get the speed, and you're going to get the quickness, and so we see it every day from our receivers. It's a really good receiving core.